Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Ventthis podcast, episode 79, titled, Where Do These People Come From?
That includes us, Paul.
It does, and that's the start of the names. I'm your host, Paul Roseberry. You've probably heard that 50 times before, and 79 times you've heard my lovely co-host,
Christine Megarian.
There she is. Guys, so welcome to the Nuttiest Podcast. I am Paul, along with my sidekick, Chrissy. And she likes to point out my alias is Joey Jabroni. So if you guys ever want to comment or send in a reference to your host, Joey Jabroni, you can do that. That's from a previous episode.
Where did that come from again, Joey Jabroni? It sounds like a sandwich she ordered, Joey Jabroni.
I would eat a Joey Jabroni right now. I would do that. With some,
how did you get
maybe
that
toasted
name?
With melted cheese? It sounds very Italian. Some capicola.
Exactly.
That was because I thought that I would pull a prank on my wife, and I put our Amazon account labeled Joey Jabroni, and I would just order mail to our apartment as Joey Jabroni so that she would think that the previous tenant was named Joey Jabroni. And it worked.
That's right.
I may have played into it a little bit more. I said, "Oh, honey, did you see this mail? This is a guy, Joey Jabroni." After about a year, I let her know that I was Joey. Great. Yeah. But I do forget sometimes. I've never changed the account. And when I do pickup orders at Whole Foods, I forget to tell them, hey, I have an order for Paul. They're like, wait, we don't see that. And I'm like, oh, Joey Jabroni. And then they all start laughing. They get a laugh every time. I think we should all do it.
I think that's a great idea. I'm going to do that to my husband.
Yeah. Just get one thing, like get your Netflix bill or your, whatever. I don't know if you can do a utility. That might get funky. But yeah, why not? You could be Jolene Jabroni.
Okay.
Chloe Jabroni? That would be pretty fun.
Does that make us married or like brother and sister?
Yeah, kin. I would say kin.
Kin. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
We're part of the Jabroni tribe.
It rhymes with that. What's that? Zabroni. What's the thing that cleans the ice on a hockey?
Almost. You had it. The Zamboni.
Zamboni. That's the first cousin of Joey Jabroni.
Now, this is getting right into an Always Sunny episode. They did something with the name Jabroni, and I know that they were playing hockey, and they must have tied in the Zamboni.
You had to.
Jabroni?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it makes me think of pepperoni. Maybe that's why it makes me hungry.
Pepperoni, Zabroni, Jabroni, bologna. God, this could go on forever.
If you're hungry enough. We've all done it. Now let's get Loretta to read the letter.
I decided to travel to Italy after I graduated from medical school because we had some female Italian classmates, and man, they were hot. So it inspired me to find some Italian women abroad. To my dismay, these women do not shave their legs or underarms, and to an American male, that is a turnoff. This is no joke. I met 7 women, and when the clothes came off, the very obvious black forest was staring at me, and this male could not do the deed. What is up with these women? Paul, help me out. I will go back to Europe. So how do I deal with the black hairy beast? Signed, by a shaver.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, all right. I'll say, when we say do the deed, if you mean FaceTime going down, no, I agree. That ain't happening. No. But overall, he's still going to do the deed. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like it's definitely a speed bump. It's a hurdle. It's gonna, especially if you feel ambushed.
Oh,
if
God.
it just kind of popped out at you, you know what I mean? Ambushed.
Oh,
We could tag that for that. That just came to me right now, but that is how it feels when you're like, the fuck, what is this? Like I out of nowhere. And not just like not shaving for a couple days. Like who cares? Like that's whatever. You never know. Unintentionally grown, like over my shoulder, this giant weed, this giant plant. If you get something like that springing out, that sucks, but you can still have sex. However, I also get though the armpits and legs, you may not even get to the bedroom. You may not because I don't know how hot a woman would have to be for you to forego just that lack of I can't you can't call it a lack of maintenance because over there in Europe it's not considered maintenance. It's just cultural. Over here it would be like you've let yourself go, you do drugs behind dumpsters, behind 7-Eleven, you probably live in a car that doesn't run. You know what I mean? You got real problems. Over there it's like chic. I don't know. Chrissy, could you ever or have you ever?
No. The answer is absolutely no.
Love it.
There's, and it's not to say that they're not hygienic, because just because you have body hair doesn't mean you don't have good hygiene, but it almost comes close to a man who has a hairy back. I mean,
Ooh.
now that
Ooh.
this guy's hot. He takes, you're going home. You're like, yeah, this is good. And he goes, oh, let me get us a drink. Takes his shirt off and shows us his back.
And it's just a forest,
It's a forest that you got to climb.
the
No,
Black Forest.
yeah. So, hair to me is a complete turn off. I agree with this guy. I don't
Yeah.
suggest he goes, unless you like hair, buddy, Mr. Venter. I would forego any country that thinks that's okay.
Chrissy, you're right, because it does have to come down. I think that's a good leverage point for making the argument with a lover, if you will, a lover, is to compare it to another scenario on the other gender that would be equally
Yeah.
revolting. God, I was at a comedy club here in LA. I was in the green room waiting to go up. There's this other girl. I'd never met her. She's pretty attractive, good looking girl, great body, nice short skirt, whatever. I was like, hey, look at that. Good for her. And then I heard her say something about her husband. And I was like, well, hey, lucky guy. You know what I mean? Makes sense. She's pretty hot. Good for her. And then I noticed her legs were completely unshaven. And like I said, not by a day or two, not by a week, as a standard operating procedure, as a general practice, no shaving. And it was as thick as mine. And
No.
I was disgusted. And immediately my mind went to the man. And I said, God, this is spousal abuse. This is horrible torture to do to this man. I know so much about what a cuck little small man, and not in a bad way. I just feel bad. I know he gets dominated in that home because one day, he's going to go to a barbecue and she'll be wearing a skirt and he'll be having a good time and he'll go hang with the other guys and someone's going to walk up and be like, hey, who brought the fucking forest legs? Jesus Christ, you see that shit going on over there? What the fuck? And then he's going to have to raise his hand and be like, yeah, she's with me. And then they're going to be like, you're not coming to the football game with us, puss, because you don't know how to talk. And if he doesn't know how to have the conversation, all he would need to say to her is, look, it's as concerning and off-putting to me that you don't shave your legs as it would be to you if I, as a man, did shave my legs.
Oh,
Right?
okay. Good
Right?
point.
Because that's weird. That's
Yeah.
bizarre. Like a woman doesn't want a man. Like sure, you don't want a hairy back on a man, but you want hair on the legs.
Yeah.
A little
100%.
forearm hair, so there's still an animal in there. You know what I mean? Like this guy
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
protect you a little bit. But if he shaved his legs like Nair Bear, you know what I mean? Like smooth, like whatever, like what you pay to get. You know what I mean? You just came out of the wax salon and it is reflective. It's shiny like a mirror. You
Oh,
see that on a man? Look at your reaction. It's
no.
exactly what it should be.
It's like when you watch bodybuilders on stage, like, and they're completely shaven and all greased up to, and they flex their muscles.
Yeah.
I don't know any woman who finds that attractive.
No.
Grow a little hair, put that little hair back on the legs, the arms, not the back, and be more
Yeah.
manly and you're good to go. But I'm with you. No, no, no shaving legs. No,
No
no.
shaving legs on
Or
men.
arms. Yeah.
And I think, look, Europe as a whole, it's not. When they said Italy, I thought they were going to say France. I mean, the French are known for this shit. You know, you could almost like dreadlock their women's armpit hair. It's disgusting. I don't even
Oh,
think they wear deodorant. I think it's like supposed to be sexy or some weird shit. I think there are a lot of things we could learn from Europe that we could adapt, and we would have better lives as a result. In trade, that's something they could pick up from us.
yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. Although I will say this before we close out this vent,
Yeah.
what if the men prefer that in Italy, and then all of a sudden now you got these women shaving their legs and their armpits, and it's a turnoff to them. So who knows? It might be something they like. I don't know. I wouldn't want to have somebody I could braid
You
their
don't want to
hair
be able to
together.
braid. No braiding. No, I think like I'm surprised that look, I could have a conversation about trimmed pubic hair. There could be a conversation if it's not just running wild like the classic porn that we all began with. If it's not
Okay,
just
not all.
if it's yeah, anyway. But if if it were to be manicured on some level, I'm not into it as we sit here. But could I be persuaded? Maybe. I don't know. If you made it artistic, if we're just talking about just some cave people fur, you know what I mean? Just some all
No.
different heights and lengths and scraggles. Gross. Because you know what? Ultimately, I think the biggest problem might be is the one in the mouth. You get one of those in your mouth, and it's just like, you know what? I don't think so.
Oh God.
I,
Oh
I think I
God.
think the meal is over. I think I gotta
Okay.
go.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
I, yeah.
So arms and legs, 100% women should be shaving those.
Yeah.
Arms and legs, 100% men should not be shaving those.
Yes.
And
100% if you've got, a force on your back, hello, wax.
wax it,
Wax.
wax it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Tough.
Well, I think we've,
Go.
I don't know I'm trying to be witty, but I guess move on to the next one,
Um,
right?
yeah, no, I think we help. Well, hold on. So just to close though, I mean, what I would want to ask our listener, I mean, if you're temporarily, I didn't get exactly how long he's going to be in Italy. He sounds like he's American living in Italy. Get your stories. Get your stories. You may have to have some furry sex. I think no, you know what? I mean, because if these women are attractive enough, and some of them are, some of it's not like they're just total
Beautiful.
road dogs that have never heard of, hygiene because they live behind a barn. Like these, some do it.
You heard it from Paul. That's his vent advice to this person. So, can we please move on to the next one, Loretta? Please.
I met this guy on Tinder because he said he was good at skiing, water sports, tennis, and golf. I was so impressed with him, I couldn't wait to get together. So I arranged a date to play golf, a sport I love. He shows up with a sling on his arm and says, "Let's do this another time." He said he pulled it while lifting heavy furniture. We went out many times because we have fun together. So on another date, I said, "Let's play tennis." Well, he shows up with a brace on his leg. Are we getting the picture here? He does sports like I play the piano at Carnegie Hall. Why do guys inflate their profiles? Because you know it's going to come out. Signed, no fool here.
Paul, you're the dating coach, man. What do you say?
All right, all right. You know what we all know. This guy's a liar.
Yeah.
But what you also know that you let us know is that you've met with him multiple times because you have fun with him. So you're at a fork in the road, especially someone you're single. Otherwise, you're on apps. You're looking to meet people who you enjoy. There are qualities about this guy you enjoy, but he's a liar. So now what you've got to figure out is he a terminal liar? Like, is this guy going to lie to you about everything and just ruin your life? Maybe that's kind of a lot of lying. Or could you have some fun with it? You got to break the ice. You got to crack it open. And you just got to say, hey, look, I'm enjoying seeing you. We're having a lot of fun. Do this with a drink, maybe on the second drink. So you're loose and he's loose. And you say, look, I've seen some funny shit on the dating apps. You've dated a lot of people. I've dated a lot of people. We see wild, funny things. The idea that you put on your profile that you play tennis and golf and you've shown up to both of these dates with physical maladies preventing you from doing it. Let's be honest, you don't play either of those. And if at all, it's horrible. But I think it's funny that you would go to this extent to show up and have a brace and then to have a sling. I find it really amusing. So could you tell me what is the funniest scenario you've had to create to cover some bullshitting? I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I just want to know. And if he plays that well and says, all right, look, I'm fucking 5'7". It's hard being a short man. You know what I mean? Like I do my job is real. My car is mine. I'm not a liar by nature. I just didn't think, you know what I mean? I just had to pad a little bit. If you've ever worn a push-up bra, it's no more than that. I'm not a fucking liar. A little bit I am. A little bit I am. But no more than, a girl colors her hair to cover her roots. I think it's like that. And if he plays it well, then you begin to have some honesty and maybe the relationship really blooms.
So you think this was a gimmick on his part to get women?
1,000%. He didn't think he was marketable. By truth, I bet he's 5'7". I bet he tells people he's 5'9". Maybe 5'9". Guys at 5'9" like to break down the fraction of inch too. I bet he's 5'9 and a half. He's 5'7".
But what if he's 6'1", but he's not athletic and he's just trying to boost himself?
Then
Well, I don't know.
something else. Then he's bald
Okay, so you
or
think
he's
he's got
fat.
something.
You know what
Okay.
I mean? Something he feels insecure about something. 100% he's lying. 100% he's lying. But if he reacts and is like, I'm not lying. I play great golf. I love golfing. I really had pulled my arm. I can't believe that you would, attack my injury to my knee on tennis day. I am insulted. You're a bitch and I'm out of here. Well, there you go. Then you found out who he is and he's gone. You saved yourself a lot of trouble. But if he's like, all right, fine. I've been on dating apps long enough. No one gave a shit when I didn't say. It's like all you women like to say you travel, but where have you been? You haven't been anywhere. You love to travel. If a rich guy will pay for it, you're willing to travel. That doesn't mean you like to travel. It means you will travel. So cut the shit. It's the same idea. If I say, oh, let's go, and you're not going to be like, oh, my Louis Vuitton suitcase broke, so I have this fucking Samsonite from Marshall's just today only when we go to get on the plane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. No, it's the same idea. It's
It if it were
if he
me,
plays, huh?
if it were me, if I maybe he thought she was really hot and he wanted to meet her and he had to blow up his profile to make himself look good. I mean, that's a compliment to her. But if he comes forward and he says, I didn't think you'd respond to me if I didn't inflate my profile. And here
Yeah,
I am. And if you don't want to go out with me ever again, that's cool. But I got a chance to meet you because you're gorgeous and it's wonderful. Okay,
yeah,
I could buy that. And
yeah.
I think that was really cute. But if you notice he's a serial mini liar about things, I think your trust goes out the window. I don't think a woman, I don't care how hot he is, what he does for a living, if that trust is broken,
Yeah.
he's gone. I give him his walking papers. Goodbye, Charlie.
And you've got to be honest with yourself early on. If you're
Yeah.
picking up on things, you got to call him out at the right time and in the right way so he still has an out. Like you said,
Yeah.
he's got to have an out. Okay, I just didn't think a girl like you would go out. You know what I mean? Too hot, whatever. But I don't know if you've ever experienced it. Chrissy, have you ever had a friend who was a pathological liar, like an actual serial liar?
No, I don't think so.
I've had a couple. I didn't seek
Really?
them out. Yeah, and not as besties, but like mutual friends. You know what I mean? When I worked in New York, I had a buddy. He was a nice guy. I liked him. But we worked in this big open loft office. Everybody talked, everybody was buddies, whatever. One night, he and I were working late. Everyone else is gone. The whole place is empty. We get the window open, working on 23rd Street. Someone drives by, and you can hear from their car, Bruno Mars is playing from the
I like
car
him.
outside at a red light.
Yeah, I like him.
He goes, He goes, "Oh yeah, Bruno Mars." He goes, "He was at my place."
What?
I go, "Really?" This is like peak Bruno Mars. This is like, I don't know, 2010 or some shit.
Yeah.
So what do you mean he was at your place? He's like, I go, "You mean your apartment?" He's like, "Yeah." When? He's like, "Last night." I said, "Your one bedroom on the Upper East Side where I helped you carry your TV. It's 400 square feet on a walk up. Bruno Mars, one of the biggest talents in the world right now. Why was he there?" He's like, "Because he's dating a friend of mine." I said, "Really?" I said, "That's fucking awesome, dude. That's so cool. Can you show me the pic?" And he's like, "I didn't take any pics." I said, you didn't whip out your cell phone? Bruno Mars was in your living room and you didn't pull out a cell phone and take a selfie with Bruno Mars. And he's like, "Nah, I don't know. It seemed weird."
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even think he said it seemed weird. He just said he like didn't think of it or something.
He-
That would be my out, was it would have felt weird. He just, no. And I said, "Okay, cool."
You didn't
Because I
believe
knew he was
him.
a pathological liar. He lied all the fucking time. This guy
Oh,
lied about everything. He said his girlfriend's birthday was coming up. He's like, "There's going to be 1,500 bucks." 1,500 bucks? Come on. You make like 900 a week. You're not spending $1,500 on your girlfriend's birthday. You've been with her 2 months. Get the fuck out of here. Everything
wait,
was a lie.
wait. So you knew he was a liar prior to the Bruno Mars story? Oh, so you knew he was lying.
I knew this guy lied all day, every day about anything to make himself so, and it was too bad. He was a nice guy.
Yeah.
He was a very likable dude. He just didn't have confidence like that. You know what
Well,
I mean? And for some reason, he felt the need to lie. He would be this guy. He's this exactly what he would do. He would say something like, "Oh yeah, I'm an awesome golfer. I fucking scratch golfer. Yeah, I got like a 2 handicap." And then he'd show up with his arm in a sling. He's 100% that
but
guy.
I don't think, based on the Venter's vent, that he's a pathological liar. I think your friend is a I think he just boosted his profile to make himself look better. I'm going to
This
give him the
dude,
benefit of the doubt.
he agreed to meet for dates that were based on skills he didn't have, and he showed up physically unable with a lie as to why he couldn't. He could have just said, when the girl was like, "Oh, well, we should go date," he probably said, "Yeah, we should golf." You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this is liar shit. This is real, like I said, if he plays it off well, then you may have a mildly enjoy, you know what I mean? You may have just a small liar, but I doubt it. I think it's the tip of the iceberg. Honestly, as much as we're having fun talking about this, I think you cannot ever take this guy seriously about anything. You can't have a kid with him, you can't
Yeah.
buy a house with him. This guy's gonna, "Oh, my credit's 800." You show up, it's fucking 410. You know what I mean? Like it's always
Yeah.
gonna be, "Oh, well, I forgot it was 800, but I loaned my uncle because he was dying, so I had to buy him a heart last year." And then, "Oh, really? Your uncle was dying because and then you had to buy him a heart? How much is a heart?" 4 million. I'm still paying for it. I put like half of it down in cash. That's don't have any money for dinner tonight. You got us right. It's bullshit for the rest of your life. For the rest of your
Okay.
fucking life. I
Well, and the other problem here is if she's into sports, right?
Sure.
And this guy, we discovered this guy doesn't play any sports. I don't know how that's going to play out.
Great point. Great point, Chrissy, because she didn't just throw these things on her profile that she's willing to try,
Yeah.
or she's done it once or twice. She's gone on 2 dates with a new guy, and both of them were like, a lot of women are like, "Oh, I don't want my makeup to run. I don't want to sweat. I don't want to mess
Yeah.
up my hair." They want to look perfect. This girl's an athlete. This girl, she needs somebody who's
Yeah.
actually an athlete. So, good point. This is not a fit.
All right.
This is not a
So
fit.
Paul, our dating coach, Venter, thinks you two it won't work out. So whatever you decide, let us know if you're going to continue to date him or if he's going to take golf lessons or tennis lessons or whatever. I don't know.
Maybe. All right, hold on. What could be something where we really push it to the edge? Where we really push it to the edge, like hang gliding. Like she should make a date that's something she's not even willing to do, but to see what his excuse is. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
that's
Like,
funny. I like that
yeah,
idea. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And don't make the actual reservation so it costs you anything, but just show up to the place and then see if he's like, well, I don't know. Yeah. And then she can be like, look, me either. I don't want to do this either. We had to address that you're kind of full of shit,
Nice.
but do it in
Okay.
a way that he doesn't get pissed and you leave him out and make it fun, but you are also running the risk though, that if you call him out and embarrass him, if he doesn't take it well, he could get really upset. So you never know. I don't know, but
Yeah,
I
keep
bet
us
he's five
posted.
seven.
Yeah.
I do bet he's 5'7".
Okay. Well, let us know. Paul and I want to know. All right. Well, the last vent is something I have to read because apparently Loretta had other
Because it's
plans.
completely inappropriate. And Chris
Yeah.
is the only
Yeah.
one willing to go there.
Yeah, exactly. All right, here we go. Here's the last vent. Men are scaredy cats. My boyfriend will scream and run out of a room if he sees a spider. Oh, Jesus. It's funny, but kind of a turnoff. I bought him a fake rubber spider to see if he could toughen up, and he didn't speak to me for a week. Yup, men can be weenies. I have to tell you, if I'm with a guy and there's a spider in the room and he starts to squeal like a little girl because he sees a spider, I don't care how good looking he is, he's out. I give him, come on, just step on the damn thing. What's the big deal? Unless you're, what is it, acrophonia? What's the, agor,
Arachnophobia.
that's it. Unless you're one of those, then man up.
Yeah, so you're saying like you could see it if it's specifically spiders, but like he's otherwise not afraid of like that level of non-lethal predator kind of thing. Like
Well, you mean me or the venter?
I'm saying like you could be okay with a guy if it's just specific because you're turned off. It's clearly a turn off.
Yeah,
It's
because
not manly.
right.
But if you found out like he's fine with snakes, he's fine with roaches, he's fine with dogs, you know what I mean? But it's just spiders that is like a mental phobia. You could see past it because he's not otherwise weak.
I'm not so sure.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not so sure because all those other things you pointed out, how often do they happen? Not much, but spiders are in your house. They
Wow.
crawl everywhere. And if this guy's screaming, help, I can't do it, like a girl, pardon
Yeah.
me, no, doesn't work. Sorry. It doesn't
Yeah.
work. It doesn't work.
I
So,
agree. I
would
agree.
yeah. Are
When I
you
was a
afraid of
kid,
spiders, Paul?
well, they're pretty creepy. And that's a lot of legs. 8 is too many legs. We make it work with 2. Dogs have a good thing going with 4 as they share with many animals in the kingdom, but 8 is like there's something bizarre. That's kind of I don't know what you're up to. I don't trust you with 8 legs at all. But when I was a kid, I got this one little sister who's been a brute. She's always been a total brute. And she would be the one to go kill the spider in the tub. And I just let her. I'd be like, you know what? If you're willing to, I'd rather you did it. It was kind of creepy. But I was a boy. I was a kid. As an adult, and especially now living with a woman, there's not a chance in the world I'm backing down from a spider. Not a chance in the world. No, you just deal with it. Now, I'm not going to say I go over there and cup that shit with my hands and, take it outside or swallow it to show her how tough I am. No, hell no, I'm not a psycho. But I'll go get a shoe and I'll even be the one, I'll look to make sure the shoe doesn't have thick tread because I don't want to like miss the spider between the tread
Yeah.
and then it bolts. No, I want like a boat shoe, like a loafer with a
Yeah.
flat surface that it is donezo. And I'll whack it and you hear the crack, you hear the
Ah,
pop, and then you got to clean your wall a little bit. And it never
ah.
comes as clean as you wish. There's always a little bit of that spider left behind. It's not awesome, but I do it. And the only time I don't is when Chelsea's one of these amazingly beautiful people who she's like, no, we'll just take it outside. And at that point I go, well, you can do that. I'm here to kill it. I'll end that spider. I will annihilate. I will erase the existence of that spider by any and all means necessary. A show of force. But if you want to get into some technical shit with like a fucking upside down mason jar and a piece of paper and risk that he slips out and then runs down your arm, girl, that is your venture. You took that on as an individual. I have no part in that. I'll put a bullet in that thing and pretend it was just a loud pop if the neighbors want to know. But you want to carry it somewhere?
It's all yours.
Watch. I'll watch. Yeah, I'm out. I'm out.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
Do
spiders
you kill it,
are.
Chrissy? Do you well, what about so the dynamic your do you call your husband or do you do it yourself?
I do it myself.
Good for you.
I'm not. I don't like spiders, and I agree they're creepy. You were saying 8 legs. What about a centipede? They've got a gajillion
Way too
legs.
many. No. Stomp.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
those bite too. I'm not sure.
Some of them do, some don't. And you kind of feel bad being stereotyping and, like millipede, centipede, racism, whatever. I don't know. But they're all out. They're all
Yeah.
out. I don't stop an interview. I don't ask questions. I don't want to see like an oral exam and see the teeth. Stomp.
If I'm home alone, obviously I have no choice. Even if my husband were there, I don't think I would call him. I just can't imagine. I don't want to lose sight of that thing because they crawl fast.
Yes.
You got to keep an
Yes.
eye on them, and then boom, you stomp on them, and you.
Oh,
I hear you. It's got to be the right level of shoe because if it's got crevices, and you know how spiders are, right? When you could smash
yes.
them, but then they
Yes.
crawl up in little balls, and you think they're dead. Those
Right.
mother whatever are alive still. They're playing
Yes.
games with it. That even is even the pissing me off more.
You got to hear the pop.
Yeah,
You have to hear the pop.
yeah.
There's got to be. So, what is your weapon of choice?
I've used hairspray. Not always works.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Is that passed by the Geneva Convention? That
Yeah, I
sounds
know.
like,
It's not
my
something you want to
God,
inhale.
hairspray.
Yeah, I have done hairspray, but again, they curl up. That's how I learned. I'm like, oh, I'm done, and then I walk away, and I'm like, wait, where the hell did that thing go?
No. And
I
now he
know.
hates you.
Yeah,
Now he's
yeah, and
pissed.
there's revenge.
Before, he just wanted your other bugs. He was kind of doing you a service in a way.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so
So you don't use the hairspray. What do you go for a
I do
shoe?
use a
You roll up
hairspray
a
if I have it.
magazine?
What?
What?
No, I do use hairspray if I have it. I don't always have hairspray. I'll use a shoe or any kind of paper I can, but I will not let that little crawler out of my sight until
No.
I know
Right.
it's gone. It's
Right.
dead. I'm having a burial in 2 seconds.
You're
So
damn right.
yeah.
It just hit me though. You know what? God, I'm kind of feeling the other side just for a moment though, because I can get claustrophobic. I'm
Oh,
sure
me
we all
too.
can, right? Chrissy, picture this. Picture you grab, now I doubt you use Aquanet per se, but say hairspray, it's a very adhesive, it's a very
Yes.
confining, you know what I mean? So imagine you're a spider. You freak out, you curl up, and this hairspray hits you and you ball up. Then the hairspray takes and it hardens. And you're not strong enough to overcome this human glue that you just became saturated in. And now you're just stuck like this forever until you die. Is that not like a POW camp? Like, is that not? That's the scariest shit. If you did that to me as a person, I don't know. I think that might be not the way to do it.
You know what? Because they freak me out so much, I'm not afraid of them, but they just freak me out that I want it done. So
I know.
whatever I have available that I know
Yeah, I
will,
know. I know.
I'm sorry. It's like, and we need spiders. They eat bugs.
Yeah.
They're all, but
Not mad at him.
they're okay outside, but they're not inside.
Chrissy, I'll
Thank
tell you.
God those black widows that we have in California.
No, you ain't, no, you ain't messing with those.
Yeah.
Dead zo.
I don't, I've never seen one. My kids have seen them. I've never seen them, but I don't think they come in the house. But my God, if that thing came in my house, I'd call the police. I would
Yeah.
call the fire department. You
Yeah.
name it. They're in my house.
100%.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Chrissy, I did a stand-up set in I forget the name of this place. It's the middle of nowhere. It's like an hour north of Santa Barbara. It's like way out in the sticks and begins with an O. I forget. Anyway, not Ojai, but anyway.
Oxnard? No.
No, it's like a weird, it's like Ochoa or something like that. I
Oh,
don't know. It's some weird place. Anyway, nice little town. On the highway, there's a long stretch of highway where it's not like the big highway. It's sort of like a state highway, not like an interstate, and so you're cruising, but it's not like a massive. It's like two lanes in each direction, not four, like a 405 or something. Anyway, I'm driving along, and I swear to God, I saw out of the corner of my eye what looked like a hand wearing a black glove walking across the street. It was the size of a hand. The first
oh,
time I
okay.
saw one, I wasn't driving. Or no, I was. And I was gonna turn around to try and go see if that really was what I saw. And I had to Google, it's real. There are spiders in California. It was crossing the road and I saw it. A tarantula, Gary. I don't know. It might have been bigger than it was because tarantulas are like gray and black. It was the size of a hand, all black and
Oh
furry like
God.
a tarantula. And I seriously, it changed my level of feeling of safety in the world just knowing that thing existed, and not in like the Amazon, you know what I mean, or along the Nile River or some shit. Like here in California. And I mean, if I saw that in my house, it would be like if a
I'd
freaking
move.
badger got
No.
in or something.
Yeah.
I'd be like, get a gun.
I'd
That's
move.
an
I'd move.
adversary. That's not a nuisance. It's an adversary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm moving. I'm putting my house up for sale. That's it.
No, honestly. So I think if for our writer's sake, our listener, within all normal confines, Chrissy and I are on the same page. Like he's got to, and sort of like our last event, if he's redeeming otherwise, and you love the guy, and then great, then you just got to kick him in the ass to
Yeah.
get
Man
over
up.
it, and he does or he doesn't,
Man up.
unless it's like what was it, cousin it? No, yeah, it or thing from like the Addams family. It was that big. If it's that big, he gets a pass, and you guys move, sell the house.
And I'd have to put on the sellers found
Yes.
lost a tarantula in home. Hopefully you'll find it. I mean, I can't imagine.
The
You've got to,
disclosures. Yeah,
yeah,
you got to put a seller's disclosure. There's a spider the size of a Shih Tzu
baseball mat. Yeah.
somewhere in this house, and it's the reason I'm selling it. Anyway,
All
any
right.
any comments? People
Yeah.
sharing their opinions of who we are, or that we.
Yeah. Here we go.
All right.
Here come the comments. My friend and I love Ventthis. My group travels together and we spend a lot of time in nice hotels. So when we heard the toilet paper vent, we laughed because all the hotels had the toilet paper rolls hanging from the front, not the back. Paul was right, and maybe Chris only stays at Motel Sixes, LOL. Very
Damn.
funny. Very
Damn.
funny. Okay.
Chrissy is an established member of the entertainment world with incredible credentials lined up behind her. Emmys for days.
What Emmys?
And
Oh, those.
uh
Oh, okay.
and yet you still got accused of some Motel 6 action.
Yeah.
I bet even Motel 6 face it to the front. That would be an interesting survey if we just went around to a bunch of hotels, motels, and did like
Well,
which way does it face?
you can stay at the Motel
Well,
6.
I'm not saying we stay. I'm just saying we just
Oh.
peruse. We just tell them we're doing a survey. Hey, I want to see the room. Nah, I'm good.
Well, that coincides with the second comment. On
Yeah.
YouTube, it says that you guys are Emmy Award winners. Both
Uh-huh.
of you? What categories do you have any awards for? Well, I only have two categories. For me, it's editing and directing team. So, but Paul will be an Emmy winner one day. I have no
One
doubt.
day. One
Yeah.
day. I got a couple ideas. I got a couple
Yeah.
things up the sleeve. A couple things cooking. But yeah, I have none so far. I am empty on the shelf. That's why I have a background that's virtual with no Emmys.
But one day soon.
But Chrissy has enough to stack up an army, so she speaks for us both. We'll
Yeah.
go. What do you have? 18?
16.
16. By next year you'll have 20.
All right. Well, here's the last comment.
All right.
Killing your scale there's one solution not to weigh yourself or just shut the pie hole. LOL. We did an event about lady wanted to kill her scale. It was called Machinicide because it always made her depressed. So that comment is from that podcast we did.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's not
yeah,
gonna
shut the
do
pie
it.
hole.
Shut the pie, and make the hole for things other than pie.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it a veggie hole. Then you get to not have to buy a new scale.
I think that's it, Paul. We're done. We're
We did it.
finished. Yeah,
Yeah, this was a good one.
it was a good
I
one.
mean, I'm not gonna say any of them aren't.
And by the way, on YouTube, it says subscribe.
Why'd you give it a thumbs down? What
Well,
was that thumbs down?
I know it's a
Because
thumbs
that's an
up.
option. People can actually click thumbs down.
Okay. No, thumbs
Yeah,
up. But
2 thumbs up.
subscribe to us, YouTube, Ventthis Podcast. We're on TikTok, Instagram. Call us and leave a vent. 818-570-2535. Paul, looks like you want to say something.
Well, you know what? They could just call us and talk shit. Just make the phone ring. We love it. We get a
Yeah.
lot of emails, tons of emails. People write to us all the time, but that phone doesn't get the use that we would love. We would just, you could prank us. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just prank us. Just call up. I don't know. Fart into the phone. Who cares? You guys are not above that. I know who our listeners are,
Call for Jerry Gironi. Wait, what's your name? Joey.
And his cousin, Jerry Gironi.
Yeah. And his second cousin, Zamboni Manoni.
There he is. There he is. I think Chrissy has a little bit of what I call Chelsea's the little man who lives in her ear. Because Chelsea will always come back with some shit that's like almost the name that she's trying to say.
That's funny. That's cute.
There's that famous artist Banksy, and she's always like, "Hey, is that one of those Bankskis?" And I'm like, "It's not Banksy, honey. It's Banksy." But I know she likes to call it Banksy. And I call them Chelseaisms. And we say it's the little man who lives in her ear. He hears what people says or what people say, and then he lies to her a little bit. He says it to her.
That's cute.
Yeah, kind of fun. Well,
All right.
we'll
This
do
was
it again.
good. We'll do
whether
it
they want
again.
it or not.
Yeah, we'll see you guys soon in another week. Toodaloodle.